Welcome, friends. Thanks for stopping by. Taking a look back at the way we were and the groundbreaking career of Madame Helen Williams, the first African-American fashion model to cross over into mainstream media. A pioneer in the world of modeling, Helen Williams Jackson is credited with paving the way for African-American fashion models, particularly dark-skinned models, to be featured in major publications and advertising, as well as high-fashion catwalks, both domestic and international. Born in East Riverton, New Jersey in 1937, Helen was always excited about fashion. She was obsessed with clothes from the early age of 7. Her introduction into the industry came whilst studying dance, drama, and art during her teens. Helen got a job as a stylist at a New York photography studio. While there, she was spotted on separate occasions by Lena Horne and Sammy Davis Jr., who happened to be in the studio doing press shots. Struck by her beauty, they urged her to take up fashion modeling. But it was a photographer named Eric Nepo who actually convinced her to get in front of the camera. She was 17. Thereafter, Helen began her career working for Ebony, Jet, and Tan magazines and became very recognizable. However, when she began looking for an agency, she was dismissed by most for not only being a non-white model, but also too dark to be accepted. She eventually signed with Grace Del Marco, an African-American modeling agency owned by former model turned entrepreneur Ophelia DeVore. It was Ophelia who urged Helen to move to Paris, where her career blossomed. In Paris, Helen had a much more positive experience. The French had a different viewpoint of Black beauty. There, Helen modeled for high-fashion design houses such as Christian Dior and Jean Dessay. She was called La Belle Americaine, the beautiful American. By the end of her tenure, she was making a staggering $7,500 a year, working merely part-time. Upon her return to the States, Helen found that opportunities were still quite limited for African-American models, but Helen's never say die attitude meant that she would not take no for an answer. "I was pushy and positive," she said. She took her case to the press, and white journalists Dorothy Killigan and Earl Wilson helped bring more attention to the fashion industry's exclusion of Black fashion models. The attention helped Helen to book ads for brands such as Budweiser and Loomtogs, advertisements that crossed over into mainstream media such as the New York Times, Life, and Redbook. Helen retired from modeling in 1970, but she didn't leave fashion entirely. She returned to the industry and worked as a fashion stylist for such household names as JCPenney and Sears. She also started a company, H&H Fashions, with friend and photographer Henry Castro. She later married Norm Jackson in 1977, and they eventually moved back to her hometown in Riverton. She retired from styling in 2012 at the age of 76. Helen Williams Jackson has been credited with helping to break down racial barriers in modeling. In 2004, she was the recipient of the Trailblazer Award by the Fashion and Arts Exchange organization at a ceremony at New York's Fashion Institute of Technology, the famous FIT. The legacy of the groundwork she laid for present-day African-American models will outlast and far outweigh the accolades. Helen Williams helped kick down doors to usher in more diversity in beauty, allowing brown and dark-skinned girls to see themselves and know that they are beautiful and that their beauty also belongs. I appreciate you for stopping by, my friends. Kindly like, share, and subscribe if you care. This is RM, Feminine for the Win. Au revoir.